not have a will.
Timothy.
I know, you think attorneys, you think like I read agreements and stuff. I usually don't do that either. I should.
Okay, I know what we're doing after this show.
We should do a will, but the question is, should I have a will? And what happens if I die without a will? And then what is a living will is kind of a segment to that. But what a will basically is it's almost like a contract. It's something that you can say when you die, this is what you want to happen to your property. It can be as specific as you want it to be. You can say my gold plate goes to Jill, and my baseball bat that's signed by Mickey Mantle goes to Bob. I know Bob's been wanting that. But you can be very specific in a will. It's your will. It's what you want to do at death. Now, if you don't have a will, then Indiana has, and most states have, what's called an intestate succession law, which says this is how your estate's distributed. Now, you get into some more intricate details about a wife has the ability to elect, to get a certain portion of the estate, but it basically sets out the division of your estate. So it doesn't mean the state gets the money, but it may say, the wife gets a half, your children get a 1/3, maybe your favorite uncle, your favorite grandfather doesn't get anything by the intestate succession. So if you have a lot of property and you want it to go to the right person, a will is important to have. Now, I know that you hear on TV about Zoom Legal, and we were talking a little bit about that, or some of
printing out your own documents.
Right. And the thing you have to be careful about that is it doesn't really cost a lot of money normally if you're going to an attorney that's charging. I may not charge more than a couple $100 for a will. But there are certain formalities with the state of Indiana. It has to be signed in the presence of 2 witnesses. They have to sign in the presence of each other, and then the testator, which is the person who does the will, has to sign it in the presence of those people. If that's not done, the will is not valid. The person also has to affirm that he's 18 years of age and of sound mind. But there are formalities that every state has, and sometimes they're different. So you have to be careful of the legal forms because the will may be invalid. And some of the nastiest legal fights I think I've ever seen have been people fighting over an estate.
There's no luggage racks on a hearse, so you really need to put it in writing.
That's a great statement.
And then when you're an only child without a will, the state will take it.
Right.
So as an only child, that's something that's very serious for me.
And as you get into more detail, you can set up trusts. There's a way to possibly avoid estate tax from both state and federal. And then a living will basically is saying that if you have a terminal condition, you're saying whether you want life support or whether you don't want life support. And that often is a difficult decision. But you can do that as part of your will so that you can make the determination so that Uncle Joe that doesn't like you is not making the determination to pull the plug.
What about organ donations? Would that be in your living will too?
It's not technically in a living will, but you can do that. I know people do that on the back of their license, or you can also do that as far as a will is concerned. I'm not sure if that's in a living will. I think you probably could put that in there.
Doesn't it say in the Bible that we're to be buried with all of our organs?
I don't know of that verse yet, but but it may be in there.
Someone special in my life has always said, you should be buried with all of your organs intact.
I honestly don't think that's in the
Scripture.
Bible. And sometimes I think people can really help someone by donating a liver. And as far as I know, I don't think that's a religious rule or part of the Old Testament Hebrew stuff. But
Hebrew's kind of cool, though. What are you talking about?
Oh, it is.
Oh,
it is cool. I love the Old Testament and the Jewish tradition in it. But it's important to have a will. It's a very easy procedure to do. We do some wills at our firm, or I can refer you to people. If you have a lot of money, it's definitely important to do because I tell you, they tax you when you're living. Unfortunately, they also tax you when you die. And it's just wisdom. Again, we talked about wisdom in the internet. It's also wisdom regarding what you want to do with your property when you die. So any other questions you have, you can email me on that, trolaw@aol.com. But important stuff. And we're going to close the show, as we always do, with our scripture of the week. I, as an attorney, think that the Bible's a great book to quote. It's also a great book for instruction for everyone, whether you're a doctor, lawyer, radio person, window cleaner, laborer. It can have something for all of us. And this is a great section of Scripture in the Message Bible, again, from 1 Corinthians. But it says, so no matter what I say, what I believe, and what I do, I'm bankrupt without love.
That's beautiful.
Love is so important in these days. Love never gives up. Love cares for others cares more for others than it cares for itself. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. Love doesn't strut. It doesn't have a swelled head, doesn't force itself on others. It isn't always me first. And boy, we live in a me first generation, don't we? Mm-hmm. Sometimes the legal system's a me first system. Doesn't fly off the handle, doesn't keep score of the sins of others, doesn't revel when others grovel, takes pleasure in the flowering of truth, puts up with anything, trusts God always looks for the best, never looks back, but keeps going to the end. Love never dies. And we've talked a lot in this show that sometimes running down and filing a lawsuit is not the best thing you can do. Sometimes that's not the loving thing to do. Sometimes it's better just to meet face to face with the person and try to resolve it. That can be done even through a mediator. Sometimes the legal system is definitely necessary, but sometimes it's better to walk in love, trust God always, let Him take care of it. But again, we're here to help you with Faith in the Law. This is your show. Jill and I here want to help you in the community any way we can. But what I'm saying is sometimes a lawsuit's not always wrong, but sometimes it's not the best thing to do. So think about that scripture this week, that how important it is to really love people. And again, we're really thankful that you tuned in. We're here every Wednesday at noon. We will help your food digest. So you can be like me and eat that TV dinner at noon and watch the show. If there's any topics you want us to talk about, anything you're interested in, call us. You can contact me through faithinthelaw.com. Again, this is your show. We love to hear from you. We're getting a lot of people that have listened to the show, that are loving the show, and it can only be made better when you contact us. So again, we appreciate you tuning into the show. Thanks again, Josh Abel, Neighborhood Christian Legal Clinic, for being here. God bless every one of you. Faith in the Law here every Wednesday at noon on Channel 40. Have a good week.